Some of the reports that you'll run prior to a given dual meet. The home team is going to print a great deal of the paperwork. That's not to say that the visiting team cannot take a consolidated meet backup and load that into their software and print the reports that they need, but normally the home team is going to print most of the operational paperwork for the swim meet. This is going to include things like worksheets for the timers, the judges recording form, meet programs for the meet, and in some cases entry lists for the teams. To find any of these reports, you would simply from the main menu go to reports and select a particular report that you wanted to create. Ones of interest again, meet program. That's going to be your heat sheet for the meet. If you click on meet program, that brings up a meet program screen. Again, gives you a great number of options. Most of the reports that you'll create, you'll simply go to select all for the particular meet or for the particular events. It selects all the events. If you deselect, it'll deselect everything. If you wanted to just print particular events, you could singly select them or select a range of events by holding down the shift key and clicking on the event to the lowest number event that you wanted to get to. Columns and format. Most of the reports you'll create in a meet program will be triple. Most of these other defaults you can leave. You should almost always print a date and time on your reports because you may print multiple copies and versions. It always helps to keep track of what you've printed. Included meet program, you'll include things like records. Time standards really won't apply for one of your dual meets. You do want to have the entry times in there. Other just general defaults can stay in. There's a thing where the computer will simulate when particular heats and events are supposed to start. I would advise against including those. Most swim meets don't run exactly on time, but if somebody sees it in print, they're going to put a lot of faith in that and believe that that event is supposed to start at that time. If you're running behind schedule, a lot of people will sit there and squawk and say, we're already supposed to be on the backstroke. Or even worse, you'll have a parent that'll sit there and look at that and say, well, we're supposed to start the backstroke at 6:20. I'll try and get to the swim meet by 6:20 to see my swimmer swim, and they'll be disappointed to see that. Also, you can include relay athlete names or exclude them. Close that. Back to reports. If you go to, scroll down, lane timer sheets. This is the selection you'll make to create worksheets for your timers. These are the actual reports that are generated usually the night before the meet that each lane gets, so the timers will know exactly what to write down for a particular event. Same thing applies. You would select all of the events. The format is going to be continuous. And again, the standard parameters, you can usually leave the defaults in there. I would almost always include double space. You don't have to include touchpads. It's nice to include the relay athlete names. The lanes, well, how many lanes is the pool? Sort by lane then event should be your selection. Once you're done with that, if you click on Create Report, it generates this nice report that looks like this. The lane, the heat, the particular team that's in that lane, their entry time if there is one, and an official time column. There are a lot of options there. It just gives the timers a big long line to write up the time for that event. Close that. The other report of interest will be the judges placing form, the UK judges placing form. That's the worksheet that the judges use to create the results of the event, and that's what they'll record the actual order of finish on. To generate that, go to Reports, Lane Timer Sheets again. And the only difference will be we're going to select UK Judges Placing Sheet. In order to do that, you'll want to go through and create, select all, and create report. This will pull up a form that looks like this. This is the worksheet that the place judges use to record the order of finish for a race. Notice there are 2 to a page. These will need to be printed and then cut in half so you have one piece of paper for each race. It may be a little bit tedious, but again, it does speed up the process of paperwork moving around the deck. Those are the primary reports that you're going to create prior to a meet, and that's where you would access those reports from.